Hello everyone and welcome back to the chassis variant series, myself, Critical Rocket, and here we are with the Huntsman, also known as the Nobori Nin, and this is the e-by-gum version of it. Yes, this is a slightly all-round complex model. It doesn't really have any one solid range that it likes to engage things at. It takes all the ranges. This one has an ATM-6, a double setup of medium pulse lasers, a large pulse, and an ER small, backed up by a light tag and a light active probe. It's got a whole bunch of crap on it, and it can't quite pick. Now, I built this on the Paquette chassis, just because the Hero chassis are a bit more versatile for Omnimex, because obviously you can get little extra C-build rewards and stuff, but this is the build of the Nobori Nin E, Huntsman E. And yeah, it's an interesting build. It's a little hot. It's supposed to have 4 extra double heat sinks to keep the heat under control, but in MechWarrior it doesn't quite translate the same way. But yeah, I didn't mind this version actually. I was a little bit skeptical whether I would even be able to do much with this because the ranges are just so diverse. They're all over the goddamn shop. I wasn't really confident that I'd be doing a hell of a lot of damage, let alone survive as long as I did with this thing. But yeah, it's an interesting build. It was built in the Jihad era, so it's during all that madness that was going on in the Innisphere and clan occupied zones at the time, and as such, you know, they would have been going up against like Word of Blake and stuff like that. You know, it's like fighting other clans, War of Reaving, all that shit going on. I don't actually know from the at least from the quick look on Sana, because I haven't looked it up in any of the books yet. I found the build in record sheets, but I didn't look up the actual TRO that may have mentioned it. But I believe that's in 3085 technical readout. Yeah, I think it's 3085 is technical readout. But one of those two, I think, mentioned somewhere that it's either this was deployed during the War of Reaving or it was during the occupied zone stuff. Being this is a Huntsman, I'm going to go with it being in the clan occupation territories, or I guess for Clan Novacat would be a reclaimed territory for the Kiritans. Because obviously the Novacats were essentially absorbed by Kirita after the fact, helping Kiritans quite a lot in their skirmishes with the Ghost Bear Dominion, also known as House Fraggle Bear. But yeah, they brought a lot of their expertise to the Kiritans and assisted them in the likes of upgrading some of their designs. I think it's why the Kiritans suddenly had this growth spurt of new mechs and tech, basically. And they had quite a favouring of heavy PPCs, that kind of thing. And a lot of battle armors as well. Actually, battle armors do become a lot more popular post-clan invasion as well. You've got like classics like the Grey Death Legion set power armor, but there are later ones that I think Kirita make at least 2 or 3 types of battle armor. And some of them get kind of big for battle armor as well. It's like mini mechs in a way. I guess it's Innisphere version of Proto Mechs, but we're jumping way ahead with shit that I'm not sure we'd ever really see in a MechWarrior title, let alone MechWarrior Online. But yeah, this one I found you kind of play it as a midfielder in the respect that you don't get too close, but you don't stay too far away, and that way you're getting probably the best damage output for the ATM-6 and your lasers. You can fire quite a lot of volleys from the lasers before they sort of start to massively overheat you, but I was combining my use with jump jets, which was causing me tiny percentage of heat issues, I have to admit. Also, Grimplex, is this Grimplex? Yeah, it's basically the Grimplex amount. This one really doesn't help with heat management sometimes. It's deceptively warm, even though it doesn't look like it's particularly hot. And this match, holy crap, this was a fun fight. This one with both teams, it was alright. I'll get out of the way now. It's classic NASCAR. There's no way around it. We were just running around these buildings constantly, and whoever was at the back of the group was the one who was going to get, as the French say, le fucked. And that was just how that was going. But it was still a really fun fight. It's one of those rare occasions in MechWarrior Online where you can have a really even battle. And it started out bad for us, and we started to drag it back, and then things started to even up, and then we got ahead, and then they were ahead again. It was just fun. It was satisfying. You know, it was. I don't think anyone could be really upset with it. I guess near the end, the people who died at the beginning were probably really upset with it, but you know, I wasn't. I thought that was quite fun. It was a good fight. So, Christ, I've run out of things to say about this one now. Well, it's the E variant. I really wish they had more in-depth background around variants. You know, something that explained a bit more. What was the reasoning? Why did they come up with this? Was there a necessity at some point? Did a particular conflict force a certain build? Did a famous pilot customize one, and it was so effective that it was like, right, we're going to put that one into production because that thing is perfect. We need more of that. There's never any explanation. It's just like, you know, you look at it from the writing team's point of view. Okay, we've introduced these new weapons and these new rules, so we need some new variants that use the weapons. Quick, so these mechs all get new variants. Go build them with this new equipment. Don't worry about the background. We'll have one of the you know, the war guys like come up with something quick. Or not at all. Sometimes variants just appear because we've got new tech. So here's one that uses ATMs. Bye. I mean, I suppose the background of the ATM is enough, I guess, to say, like, well, you know, this clan created the ATM system and it became super popular, and all the other clans suddenly either obtained it through bidding or through trade, or they got it as Isola or something like that, and they started using them in their mechs, and it spawned a whole new set of variants. But I was liked the original write-ups where it was explained why a certain variant would exist due to, you know, oh, there was a lack of a certain material that was needed to produce weapons. I always go back to the Autumn as a great example of this, where House Marek had a real difficulty of producing a certain piece of the material to make PPCs, so they couldn't build a standard 8Q Awesome, so they had to make their own, which used large lasers instead, because they could build lots of them. So there was a necessity there, and it created a variant. That was cool. I liked that. And then it largely... That kind of fell by the wayside as the TROs continued and the timeline moved forward. It's a real shame. I like the later TROs where they did go back to it being more like the classic 3025 ones. Even 2750 doesn't quite have the same write-up as 3025. It's one of the best TROs they ever made. Coincidentally, their first. Obviously, they put in the most effort there. So yeah, that was that round. I thought it was a really good fight. 10-12, and my little Huntsman was the last one. Probably just because I was just such a hoppity bastard the whole time, staying out of the way. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.